are officially in a new age of video games, and while it's true that the Nintendo Switch has now been alive for 4 years, it was released in March of 2017, the Xbox Series X and the PS5 are very much the young bucks of the new console generation. And while they have been a bit low-key in terms of making the news on a grand scale, there are a lot of gamers talking about them, and not exactly for all good reasons, because especially with the PS5, there are some bugs that have to be worked out and fixed and have been fixed over time. So allow us to show you all of the bugs that PlayStation 5 has had since release. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Controller drift. First off, we start with a more recent issue that is honestly hitting people across multiple consoles. The PS5 is having some users suffer from joystick drift, meaning that you can be playing the game and when you're not touching the joystick, it'll just move around on its own, and hence move your character on screen in a way that you don't want it to, which can seriously mess up your game. Here's what iFixit had to say about sensorware in particular. The first potential cause of drift is the hardest to avoid. Where do the potentiometers? Over time, the wiper scrubbing back and forth against the resistive pad creates imperfections, altering the voltage readings across the terminals. Think of it kind of like a skipping record or scratch CD. Now, it is worth noting that while the Switch's infamously drifty Joy-Con sticks look quite differently internally, with wipers moving across flat pads instead of circular tracks, they can fail in exactly the same way. Where do the pads, resulting in incorrect readings? So yeah, that is a big deal, and while Sony is likely to fix this, it should be noted that it took Nintendo a while, and some lawsuits, to get theirs fixed. Rest mode freezing. When the PS5 first launched, keeping the console in rest mode sometimes resulted in freezes, corrupted data, and crashes. In some extreme cases, users reported needing to rebuild the console. Unfortunately, these problems with rest mode haven't been 100% resolved, but firmware updates seem to have made rest mode more stable. Still, PS5 users may want to keep rest mode turned off for now. Other stability issues remain but are more infrequent. At launch, users complained of PlayStation 5 consoles freezing during games. This does still happen, but not nearly as often, thanks to a post-launch hotfix and the software update in December. While these issues aren't completely resolved, they are steadily getting better. With the PS5 expected to be easier to find in 2021, Sony will hopefully have these problems fixed as the new console enters more homes. Here's another one where it's a major issue and one that definitely should have been fixed before launch ever happened. Think about it like this. Imagine you just got your PS5 and then it does one of those rest mode freezes and you have to rebuild the console. Do you even know how to do that? Exactly. Yes, Sony has patched it up, but it still might happen. External hard drive corruption. Sony has long paraded the use of external hard drives as one of the PS5's most useful features. You can store your PS4 games there if you would like and still have plenty of extra space in addition to what the system came with. However, users are reporting problems with transferring data from their PS4 system over to PS5 with an external hard drive. Some are seeing corrupted data following the transfer process, while others have lost data previously available on the hard drive. That is a big party foul, and one that many should be wary of when they get a PS5 and try to use on an external hard drive, because the last thing they want is to go and put a lot of game data on the hard drive and then all of a sudden it's gone when they put it onto a PS5. Now this would also be a hard one to fix, because you could argue that there is a way for the data to get corrupted on multiple levels, so yeah, not fun. PSN connection issues. Some users have reported issues connecting and downloading games from the PlayStation Network. If you're experiencing issues, the best thing to do is to check your internet connection and then try again. You can also check on the network service status to see if there is a greater issue with the service. There is a huge influx of users trying to sign in, download, and update their new consoles, so budget extra time for installation, especially if you're using the digital console. But still, you'd think that after multiple consoles that use the internet and have PSN, that Sony would have been able to make it so that such connection issues wouldn't have been a problem. The error code. Users who routinely experience system crashes, failures, and error code CE108262-9 may be seeing system deterioration and faulty hardware that will necessitate a call to tech support. CE108262-9 is not the type of error code to wait for a firmware fix for. If you see this error over and over again, or even just a few times, consider contacting PlayStation support for a potential resolution. This is a problem because this is supposed to be a next-gen issue, and yet this was happening a lot, especially during the initial launch of the console. A very telling thing indeed. Now granted, they have apparently done a firmware fix/update that renders this moot, but it no doubt was frustrating for many users. Power issues. If your PS5 loses power shortly after you turn it on, won't turn on at all, crashes or freezes while playing, or turns off while playing, your PlayStation 5 might be down for the count and suffering from an internal power issue. If that happens, you'll have to troubleshoot on the PlayStation website to find out if you're eligible for a console repair. There have been user reports that using an extended storage unit will cause your PS5 to shut off. This is another one of those "how does this happen" kind of errors that is sure to drive some of you mad, because, well, let's be honest here, this shouldn't happen. A power source issue in a brand new console, and one that is affecting a lot of people? Yeah, that's pretty bad. And given that this is a tech support issue, it may mean that if this happens to you, you will have to wait even longer until you play your PS5. Download errors. Sometimes when the PS5 attempts to download games from the PlayStation Store, you will be met with a queued for download message, but your content won't begin downloading. This can occur grabbing both PS5 and PS4 titles from the service. Via a system update, this problem appears to have been fixed, eliminating the need to perform a factory reset or system rebuild. Luckily, it no longer seems to be plaguing PS5 owners, which is good because that would definitely be an error that would drive a lot of gamers batty, because many prefer to do digital downloads and not use the disc. Popping and buzzing noises. Users have reported a loud buzzing noise coming from their consoles, and while it has not been known to cause any issues with hardware or software, it is still an annoying and distracting issue for some users. While coil whine seems to be the prevailing theory surrounding the cause of the issue, the reason remains unclear. If your PS5 is making noise, try adjusting the PS5 stand or moving it to a different vertical or horizontal or vice versa. Furthermore, there have been reports of users hearing a popping or crackling sound in their headsets while they navigate the PS5 menus. This is thought to happen when there is another device nearby that is causing an interference. Check your nearby Bluetooth devices and shut them off if you are able to. Some users have fixed the issue by dropping the volume and slowly raising it back up. Overheating. One thing you definitely don't want to have happen to your PS5 is for it to overheat, as that can damage the system in various ways and ensure that you don't get to play games. Sure enough, many users have gotten a system overheating message while playing certain games. To be fair, sometimes it has to do with the placement of the console in regards to where it is stationed within the user's room, but other times it's because of faulty fans. So what does this say about the PS5? So hearing about all these bugs that have come forth before the PS5 has even had 6 months of life, what does this all have to say about the new console? Well, objectively, not much, as these bugs don't happen on every console and the system is selling rather well so far. However, it is troubling that a wide variety of issues like these continue to pop up despite the PS5 being touted as a truly next-gen system, because that would usually mean that such a system would be above such bugs and errors, but apparently not. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at the PlayStation 5 and how its bugs have been somewhat significant ever since its launch in late 2020? Are you glad that many of these are fixed? Do you know of any other bugs of this ilk that are likely to show up at one point or another? Do you think the PS5 will ever be bug-free? Let us know in the comments below, be sure to subscribe, and we will see you next time on the channel.